Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. And today we have another fresh set of crazy revenge stories. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. And our first story. Don't announce your engagement at someone else's wedding, or this might just happen to you. Last summer, I was at a cousin's wedding. His bride and her family had been close with ours since before I was born, and the couple had known each other since they were toddlers. So it was a particularly exciting event for both sides of the family. However, after the ceremony was over and the party had only just started, one of the bridesmaids decided to announce her own engagement. The attention was immediately taken away from the newlyweds and brought to the bridesmaid, who I'll call Sarah, and her equally smug fiancé. My cousin's wife, I'll call her Emma, didn't make a scene or utter a single negative word about Sarah. She looked like she was on the verge of tears, but kept grinning and acted very happy for the other couple. This was unusual, as Emma is typically quite confrontational and speaks her mind no matter the consequences. Sarah later picked Emma to be the maid of honor at her own wedding, which took place last weekend. I wasn't there for it, but my cousin sent me some of the best bits on Snapchat and explained the whole situation. This is where the fun begins. Emma's two much younger sisters were the flower girls at Sarah's wedding. At the very last moment, Emma switched out the white petals in their basket to blue ones she'd secretly brought with her. She told her sisters not to say anything about it or let the bride see them until it was time to scatter them down the aisle. Sarah looked very confused upon seeing the blue petals, which didn't coordinate whatsoever with her theme, but of course she didn't say anything about it in the moment. Most of Sarah's other bridesmaids were also Emma's friends and had attended Emma's wedding and were also in on Emma's scheme. At the reception, Emma's sisters and the other bridesmaids were tight-lipped when Sarah began demanding to know why there were blue petals. The wedding planner ended up getting a lot of abuse for not checking the flower girls' baskets before they walked down the aisle. Finally, it was time for the speeches. The speeches took place in front of a massive screen displaying a loop of photos with Sarah and her husband, which had been compiled by Emma. Emma took the remote that controlled the presentation screen and at first showed some pre-approved humorous photos of Sarah with Emma and other friends to facilitate a couple lighthearted jokes. Then, at the very end, Emma said to Sarah that she must be wondering why there were blue petals instead of the white ones originally planned. That's when Emma displayed the last slide from her presentation. Emma announced in front of everybody that she was 5 months pregnant and she just discovered the baby was a boy, hence the blue petals. The last slide? Her ultrasound picture. There were shocked yells and gasps. Sarah had a fit, but those involved in the scheme cheered so loudly that I sincerely regret watching the Snapchat recordings with headphones. Apparently, Sarah had been very nasty to her bridesmaids before, driving several of them away and forcing the others to pay ridiculous amounts of money for dresses. Emma and my cousin were eventually thrown out of the party, but they were all smiles. Sarah's fuming mother went to confront her outside, and Emma retorted with, "Gentle, gentle, I'm pregnant." I reckon Sarah doesn't speak to the majority of those bridesmaids anymore. When will people learn? We're at the wedding for the newlywed couple and their family. We're there to celebrate their day. And our second story. Repeatedly block my car in private parking? Good luck finding and getting your car out. I live in an apartment building which has end-to-end parking for 2 spaces per apartment, and access to the parking levels, 1 through 5, are done via a locked automatic roller door, which people can only get through if they have a remote for it, or sneak through behind someone else. I only have a single car, and sometimes I let my friends park in the space in front of my car if they give me notice, so I generally park at the back of the double space, plus it's easier for my neighbors who have 2 cars. Earlier this year, a random car began parking in front of mine on Friday afternoons, meaning I couldn't go out with my car on Friday nights. Annoying, but not the biggest issue when you live super close to the city. This continued nearly every week for about 5 weeks when I didn't park my car at the front of the bay, which I began doing. But times I planned to leave the space free for friends coming over or whatever, the car appeared again. I made repeated attempts to stop this behavior by leaving notes, which escalated into leaving printouts of a photo of the car with the license plates clearly visible and an explanation that if it happened again, I'd press charges and/or have the vehicle towed. Well, it happened again. And this time, it was still there Saturday afternoon when I'd been planning on going away with a group of my mates. My guess is someone went out on Friday, got drunk, and decided to pick up the car later, not concerning themselves with the inconvenience it caused anyone else. It clearly hadn't moved. As my aggressive note telling them to F off was still there sitting limply under their wiper blades. I figured enough was enough. It was time to have the vehicle towed, so I called building management and eventually called a towing company who refused to help because the space was on the 3rd floor and they can't get any trucks up to that level because of the height and space restrictions. Ordinarily, most people would be screwed at this point, and I'll admit I briefly considered sitting on the hood of the car until the jackass came to pick it up while sending my mates on their way without me. But they would have had to work out a new arrangement for transport, as one car wouldn't have cut it. Fortunately for me, my parents only live 30 minutes away and have a garage where I work on one of my cars that's getting at the tail end of a minor restoration. One of the things I use pretty often is a set of vehicle positioning jacks to jam my project car up against the wall of the garage to minimize the space it takes up. For anyone that doesn't know, vehicle positioning jacks are basically devices that slot under each wheel, then lift the car up on hydraulics so you can freewheel it in any direction. While I hadn't originally gone to retrieve them, when I had to take my project car off them, a bright idea popped into my head. None of my mates minded spending an extra hour to screw someone over that had interfered with us, so we grabbed the jacks and went back, propped the car up, and wheeled it out. 6 guys can easily move around a small hatchback, so we pushed across the level slowly and carefully to an area where there isn't parking, but is a load-supporting pillar with space enough for a car behind it, in a little section of the garage where it isn't lit, and is completely out of the way. Typically, there's a guy on my level that parks a motorbike there, but he isn't supposed to, and I doubted if he'd mind. We dumped it between the pillar and the wall, with the nose pointing towards the wall, and I took back my angry note, the jacks, and we left to enjoy our weekend. When he came back Monday afternoon after the long weekend, the car was still there, which was no real surprise considering there was only about a foot of space for movement between the pillar and the car, and another foot or so between the car and the wall. From the fact that the front wheels had changed, we're guessing they did try to get it out unsuccessfully. It eventually went later in the week, though I'm not exactly sure how they managed it. I never saw the car again. And our next story for you. Win my auction and not pay? Oh, trust me, you're going to pay. I make art as a hobby. Metal sculptures. I only sell them when I need a bit of money for something. I had a holiday coming up, so listed one here on TradeMe, an auction site, for a $1 reserve. The auction lasted 10 days, and the piece got quite a bit of interest in that time, with lots of people adding it to their watch list and bidding on it. It ended up selling for a bit over $500. Perfect. I contacted the winner with my bank details and asked for their delivery address. No reply. Email again. Nothing. I look into his profile a bit, and sure enough, he doesn't follow through on half the things he buys. Fair few grumpy feedbacks from other sellers. He's completely a time waster. TW. I'm a bit PO'd. I've already had to pay a listing fee, advertising fees, and $40 success fee. I'll eventually get this back, but it's still annoying. And being in limbo on a deal sucks. You kind of expect the money and kind of don't at the same time. Got me raging, so I Googled his email, nothing. I checked to see if he has any listings for sale. He doesn't at the moment. Besides giving him bad feedback, there's really not much else I can do right now, though I add him as a favorite seller. This way, next time he lists something, I'll get emailed about it. But he never does. About a year later, after I'd forgotten all about it, I get a bunch of emails from TradeMe telling me TW has new listings. Seems TW is packing up shop and moving to Australia. Seems everything has got to go, mate. Ironically, his listing states that everything must be picked up by the end of August as I'm moving to Australia. No time wasters. He's got listings for a car, motorcycle, tools, a welder, some furniture, rims, and a bunch of other stuff. I give his feedback another quick look to see if he's changed his ways. He hasn't. Over the following week, I research what a good price would be for everything he lists. I share all his listings with my friends and get them to add his listing to their watch list so he thinks they're popular. Instruct them to go into a bidding war with me on each item up to a certain amount but no further. I win all of his auctions using a bunch of false accounts. Lucky guy gets top dollar for everything. I reply all the winning email confirmations from the various accounts, arranging different pickup times for the goods, agreeing to pay cash on pickup for everything. As the week goes on, I cancel, reschedule, rain check, and delay every pickup, bearing in mind I'm pretending to be a different person for each item from different SIM cards. On the day we arranged to pick up the car, it had been agreed previously that he could continue to use his car up until 2 days before leaving for Australia because I'm a nice guy like that. I text him that I'm on my way, see you at 1. I was late, of course. Nearly there, mate. See you soon, half hour later. 5 minutes away, 20 minutes later. I'm here, where are you? Ignored the text messages and waited for the call. TW, where are you? Me, annoying, isn't it? TW, what? Me, annoying, isn't it? TW, what do you mean? You know, having someone bid on your auction with no intention of buying it. TW, are you effing kidding? Me, nope. I remember being quite annoyed when you did it to me. TW, who? When? Me, I'll let you figure that one out. Click. Over the next few hours, I called him as the welder buyer. Annoying, isn't it? The motorbike buyer. Annoying, isn't it? Outdoor furniture buyer. Annoying, isn't it? All of them. To top it off, I gave him positive feedback on everything I bought, saying he was top trader, A++, easy pickup, good communication. In the coming weeks, I was contacted by TradeMe regarding his dispute. He was wanting to get the success fees back, over $500 altogether, I'd guess. I responded to each of those with the fact that I'd already paid and picked it up and was happy with the item. Not sure if he got those success fees back, but I very much doubt it. This is true pro-revenge. This is the definition of pro-revenge. You must be on cloud 9. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.